Out of your vulnerabilities will come your strength. Sigmund Freud's Vulnerability, the Crucible of Fortitude. Freud's adage insightfully posits that the very weaknesses we conceal are often the forges of our greatest strengths. Vulnerabilities, when embraced, become profound teachers. They are the birthplaces of innovation, empathy, and courage. This paradoxical notion dismantles the stigma around vulnerability, recasting it as a forge for the tempering of personal character. In the heart of our fears and failings lie opportunities for growth and the cultivation of resilience. The lesson is clear: strength is not the absence of weakness, but the mastery and transformation of it into a foundation for enduring vigor and adaptability. Accepting and working through one's vulnerabilities is not only an act of courage, but also a strategic move towards a more resilient and authentic self. Unexpressed emotions will never die. They are buried alive and will come forth later in uglier ways. Sigmund Freud's The Peril of Silenced Emotions. Freud's observation on unexpressed emotions underscores the enduring nature of our internal experiences. Suppressed feelings do not vanish, they linger, fester, and often manifest in more destructive forms. His words serve as a cautionary reminder of the potential consequences of ignoring our emotional health. When emotions are not acknowledged or processed, they can subconsciously influence behavior and thought patterns, possibly leading to negative outcomes. This notion is reflected in the understanding that emotional repression can contribute to various psychological issues, including anxiety, depression, or sudden outbursts of anger. The uglier ways Freud mentions could range from passive-aggressive behaviors to physical symptoms caused by the psychological stress of unaddressed feelings. The insight to be drawn from Freud's statement is the importance of emotional expression and the processing of feelings in a healthy manner. It suggests that personal well-being is dependent on the active engagement with our emotional selves, encouraging open communication, introspection, and therapeutic practices as means to prevent the detrimental repercussions of buried emotions. We are never so defenseless against suffering as when we love. Sigmund Freud's The Paradox of Love's Vulnerability. Freud's observation on love's susceptibility to suffering reveals the inherent risk in emotional intimacy. Love, in its purest form, demands a dismantling of walls, leaving one exposed to the potential agony of loss, betrayal, or rejection. The vulnerability we present in loving another is the most genuine expression of our desire for connection, yet it also opens the floodgates for profound pain. This duality is love's most salient feature. It is the source of life's highest joys and deepest sorrows. The underlying insight is that the act of loving is an act of courage. To love is to accept the possibility of suffering as a consequence of the deep emotional investment. The lesson here is twofold. First, that vulnerability is an inescapable aspect of meaningful relationships, and second, that the pain endured in love is a testament to its depth and significance. Embracing love's risks can lead to unparalleled fulfillment, but it also requires resilience in the face of its inherent vulnerabilities. From error to error, one discovers the entire truth. Sigmund Freud's Embracing the Pursuit of Truth Through Error. Freud's reflection on the path to truth underscores the crucial role of errors in the journey of discovery. The sentiment conveys that missteps are not merely obstacles, but rather indispensable guides towards deeper understanding. Each mistake provides a unique learning opportunity, a chance to refine hypotheses and correct courses. This iterative process is emblematic of the scientific method, where each experiment and its potential failure eliminate false leads, narrowing the path to veracity. In a broader sense, the statement champions the human capacity for growth through trial and error, emphasizing that full comprehension often requires a succession of fallacies. The overarching message is that the quest for truth is not straightforward. It is woven through with errors that, when critically examined, edge us closer to enlightenment. Acknowledging and learning from errors is not just a scientific prerogative, but a life skill that fosters wisdom and intellectual humility. It's a reminder that in the landscape of human knowledge, errors are not dead ends, but stepping stones to greater insight. One day, in retrospect, the years of struggle will strike you as the most beautiful. Sigmund Freud's Reflections on the Beauty of Struggle. Freud's insight into the retrospective appreciation of struggle captures a poignant truth about human resilience and the transformative power of hardship. His statement suggests that the periods of our lives marked by challenge and perseverance are often remembered as the most enriching and character-defining. In the midst of struggle, the difficulty can be overwhelming and the purpose unclear, yet it is these times of trial that forge our strengths and sculpt our personas. The underlying beauty in struggle is not apparent until viewed through the lens of time. Distance allows for recontextualization of past hardships, transforming them into narratives of triumph and personal evolution. The lesson here is a celebration of the human spirit's capacity to find meaning and growth in adversity. Freud's reflection encourages embracing life's challenges, knowing that one day they may become treasured chapters of our stories, emblematic of our tenacity and the intricate journey toward self-realization. It is a testament to the idea that the most intricate beauty often stems from the most complex experiences. A man should not strive to eliminate his complexes, but to get into accord with them. They are legitimately what directs high conduct in the world. Sigmund Freud's Harmonizing with one's inner complexes. Freud's perspective on the role of complexes offers a nuanced view of psychological health. Rather than advocating for the eradication of these deep-seated emotional patterns, he suggests that individuals should aim for harmony with their inner workings. Complexes, according to Freud, are not aberrations to be cured but integral components of the psyche that influence behavior and interaction with the world. This stance challenges the notion of striving for a psychological clean slate and instead promotes self-awareness and acceptance. Freud implies that complexes can be harnessed, contributing to the richness of one's personality and guiding actions in a way that's congruent with one's authentic self. The insight here is that by understanding and integrating our complexes, we can channel them productively rather than being unconsciously driven by them. This approach fosters a more balanced inner dialogue, where one's innate tendencies are neither denied nor allowed to reign unchecked, but are acknowledged as part of the whole self. It's an invitation to view our inner complexities not as flaws, but as sources of individuality and purpose. Just as no one can be forced into belief, so no one can be forced into unbelief. Sigmund Freud's The Autonomy of Belief. Freud's assertion on belief and unbelief underscores the deeply personal and autonomous nature of conviction. The essence of belief systems, whether they concern religion, philosophy, or ideology, is that they are rooted in the individual's internal landscape, shaped by experience, reflection, and a multitude of psychological factors. This statement acknowledges the futility of coercion in matters of personal faith and understanding. It reinforces the idea that belief is not a commodity to be transferred or altered by external force, but is a domain governed by the self. The insight here is a call for respect for the sanctity of personal belief and the recognition that genuine conviction cannot be manufactured or dismantled by demand. It suggests that persuasion, to be effective, must appeal to the individual's own reasoning and emotional faculties. Freud's reflection serves as a reminder of the importance of intellectual freedom and the inherent right to form and hold one's convictions without external imposition. The virtuous man contents himself with dreaming that which the wicked man does in actual life. Sigmund Freud's The Dichotomy of Virtue and Action. Freud's observation speaks to a fundamental dichotomy between thought and action, particularly in the realm of moral conduct. He suggests that the individual who is guided by virtue often harbors the same desires as one who acts upon them without moral restraint. The key difference lies in their chosen response to these impulses. This statement explores the concept of repression inherent in the maintenance of virtue, implying that societal or self-imposed morality often requires the suppression of desires deemed unacceptable. The virtuous man thus lives a life of discipline, where desires are relegated to the realm of the imagination, while the wicked man freely acts upon these impulses, unconcerned with conventional moral judgment. The insight here is a reflection on the universal nature of desire and the role of morality in shaping human behavior. It may also be interpreted as a subtle critique of the rigidity of virtuousness, pointing to the psychological tension that arises from constant self-denial. Freud's statement encourages a deeper examination of the interplay between desire, conscience, and the societal constructs that define virtue and wickedness. It poses an implicit question about the authenticity and psychological cost of a virtuous life when it is lived in perpetual resistance to one's natural inclinations. The voice of the intellect is a soft one, but it does not rest until it has gained a hearing. Ultimately, after endless rebuffs, it succeeds. This is one of the few points in which one may be optimistic about the future of mankind. Sigmund Freud's The Tenacity of Intellectual Resolve. Freud's commentary on the nature of intellect is an ode to its quiet yet inexorable force. He portrays the intellect as possessing a gentle voice, one that often struggles to be heard above the cacophony of more immediate, visceral forces such as emotion, bias, and irrationality. Yet, he attributes to it a persistent quality that, despite frequent dismissal, continues to strive for acknowledgement and influence. The statement reflects a belief in the resilience and eventual triumph of reasoned thought over the long term. It suggests that intellectual insight and rationality have a slow-burning power that, while often overlooked or resisted, do not yield in their quest for consideration. Freud's optimism lies in the capacity of the intellect to eventually prevail, suggesting that truth and reason have a subtle, pervasive strength capable of overcoming the barriers of ignorance and short-sightedness. It is a reminder of the transformative potential of ideas and the gradual, yet profound, impact they can have on the course of human events. This perspective offers hope for the future, resting on the conviction that intellectual perseverance can lead to enlightenment and progress. The only person with whom you have to compare yourself is you in the past. Sigmund Freud's The quote attributed to Sigmund Freud suggests a self-referential framework for personal growth, emphasizing introspection over external comparison. By measuring against one's past self, improvements and progress are personalized and self-referential, fostering intrinsic motivation. This introspective comparison mitigates the distractions and distortions of comparing oneself with others, which can be demoralizing or misleading due to differing starting points, resources, and life circumstances. This approach encourages acknowledging one's unique trajectory and potential, supporting a healthier psychological state. It aligns with the concept of self-actualization, where the individual's focus is on personal development and self-fulfillment. The insight here is that self-improvement is an individual journey, not a competition. The lessons include valuing personal benchmarks over societal ones and recognizing that self-growth is a continuous, nonlinear process tailored to one's evolving aspirations. The mind is like an iceberg. It floats with 1/7 of its bulk above water. Sigmund Freud's iceberg analogy is a compelling visualization of the human psyche, encapsulating the complexity and depth of mental processes. It conveys the idea that the conscious mind, the part we are aware of and can access, is just the tip of the iceberg, visible above the waterline. In contrast, the vast majority of our thoughts, feelings, and memories reside beneath the surface in the subconscious and unconscious realms. This metaphor elegantly illustrates the disproportion between the conscious and the deeper, often inaccessible layers of the mind, shaping our behaviors and motivations in ways we may not fully comprehend. The interpretation of dreams is the royal road to a knowledge of the unconscious activities of the mind. Sigmund Freud's assertion that dream interpretation acts as the royal road to understanding the unconscious is a cornerstone of psychoanalytic theory. Dreams, to Freud, were more than mere nightly distractions. They were windows into the otherwise obscure depths of the unconscious. He believed that the content of dreams, often symbolic and perplexing, could reveal the hidden desires, conflicts, and impulses that govern much of our waking behavior. Freud posited that the unconscious mind uses dreams to process complex emotions and thoughts that the conscious mind might suppress during waking hours. The work of analyzing dreams thus provides a direct path to the core of unconscious activity, allowing for a deeper understanding of the self. By decoding the cryptic language of dreams, Freud argued, individuals could confront unresolved issues, leading to greater self-awareness and psychological relief. This perspective has had a lasting influence on both psychology and the broader cultural understanding of dreams' significance.